Okay, today I want to talk to you about a very grim introduction. As most of you probably remember, maybe not all of you, in 2007, there was a very bad shooting on the Virginia Tech campus. A senior, an English major senior, got really upset, had some mental illnesses in the past, and killed 32 people and injured 25 people. Well, ever since then, a really heated topic and a really controversial topic that's been going back and forth is whether or not we should have concealed carry permits on college campuses. And so I'm going to discuss some different proponents with the opposition, with the support for the bills, and how it would affect our college campuses in regards of safety and how it would make other people feel, like the faculty and the administration, but some laws that are being passed. Like I said, ever since 2007, a bunch of states have been for it, a bunch of states have been really barring up, basically building a wall to make sure it never happens. Specifically, Jervis, an article by a man named Jervis, talks about how nine states have created bills that would allow college campuses to have concealed carry permits, have people with their weapons on the college campus, and 9 states have made bills that are against it. Well, so far none of the ones that are against it have passed, but 5 states actually now have a state law that says a public university cannot tell a student they can't have a firearm on campus. And those states are Oregon, Mississippi, Wisconsin, Utah, and Colorado. The most information you can find is Colorado. There's an article by a guy named Frosch who discusses the way the faculty and everybody feels. Like he interviewed a bunch of people on the Colorado, I think it's the Colorado University in Boulder. Yeah, Colorado University in Boulder. He interviewed a bunch of people there, and they really expressed concern about, a lot of the teachers said they feel uneasy because, well, a random student could just come in and get in an argument with a teacher and then feels like they would be more inclined to show violence and just lose their head, basically. And a lot of teachers feel that way, but there's also the other side of it, the flip side, talking about how we allow people to have their firearms in grocery stores. I mean, we allow people to have their firearms in libraries. I mean, you can literally walk down the street and have your firearm if you have a concealed carry permit anywhere, except for like hospitals, government buildings, and right now college campuses, buildings associated like that. Well, a lot of people that are pro having guns on campus say, well, how is that any different? And a lot of people say that a lot of people that are against say that it's because college kids are immature, but I mean the same college kids, if they're 21 or older, which is still college age, can also go out and get their own concealed carry permit. So I mean, the way I see it is if they're allowed to have it outside of college campuses at 21 and 22 and 23 when they're still in college, if the state thinks they're mature enough outside, why wouldn't they think they were inside? But just to express how advent a lot of states are towards the laws for it, Texas, just in 2011, has put in 6 bills to become laws that would require public universities to allow students to have guns. None of them actually went through, which is kind of surprising from Texas, but that's another thing that came from the Jervis article. Smith article also talks about how advent Texas is towards getting towards getting guns on campus. Some of the people that are opposite of it is Mailman, is actually the author of the article that I was talking about earlier, with the fear of people just going off and going crazy and then using the firearm that they have on their side. Another thing that came out of the Virginia Tech incident was increasing firearm requirements. Increasing requirements for having the firearms because this guy was mentally ill and had a history of mental illness but at the same time, he was allowed to get a firearm, and they've increased those since then too. Another thing that's kind of makes my point is a lot of things have been cut back recently with our economic troubles, like cops. A lot of cops are patrolling less, a lot of cops are on shifts, and at the Appalachian School of Law, I can't remember what state that's in, but in the Appalachian School of Law, there was actually a guy, former student, had some academic problems, come back to talk with a dean, one of the deans of admission or something like that, and decided he didn't like what he said, and whipped out a gun and shot him point blank range. Went right around the corner, shot a teacher, walked out in the hallway, shot a student. Walked outside, and before he could shoot any of the hundreds of other people on that campus, 2 cops had made it to their cars and back with body armor and pistols and subdued him using the help of an unarmed ex-Marine. But what if they had been allowed to have those guns on them? I mean, they're cops. We trust them to protect us everywhere else. Why can't we trust them to protect us on a college campus? If they were right outside that building and they could hear the gunshot, that first gunshot instantly would have went straight into the door, may have prevented the teacher and the student from being killed. And I definitely think that the pros outweigh the cons. I mean, a lot of people that are against it feel like, oh, well, if we allow people to have guns on college campuses, everybody's going to have a gun. We're just going to have a whole army of people walking around college campus. But that's not the case. There's an article by Buford, Nobles, Wales, and Cavada that I did research on where they went through and surveyed, I think it was 400 and something college campuses, and surveyed students through the internet and through email on if they were allowed to have a gun on campus, how many would actually, go out and buy a gun and bring it on campus. And out of all the people that responded, I think it was less than 10% said they would actually go out and buy a gun just because they could have it. But I mean, a lot of people would feel more safe. There's a lot of students who would feel more safe, and I'm not even 100% pro everybody should have a gun. I mean, I think that compromises can be made. A while back, I did a project for a history class where we had to make our own bill, and I made a bill where only some would. Like if you're a cop, like I was saying with the cop thing, if you're a police officer outside a college campus, I think it should be okay for you to have a firearm on a college campus. I think current military, I mean, a lot of them over there, when they're serving overseas, have sidearms. I don't see why that would be a problem. And then I've heard of a lot of other bills, and I kind of adopted it from one in Texas. Those 6 bills I was talking about in 2011. I kind of adopted it where upper level ROTC that go through an extra training. People that are like less than a year away from being in the military anyways, would take an extra course and be able to. And that's how I feel about it. Ever since the shooting, a Facebook group started, and then it built and gained traction, and Wiseman actually is an author of an article I read where Students for Concealed Carry is the name of the student group, and it's got thousands of members now on many college campuses, and they won't disclose their numbers, I guess, because a lot of people are against it, but they have many members, and they're gaining traction because of similar viewpoints to what I was saying, because they feel the people should have the right to, if they can have it outside, they should be able to have it inside. And what it all boils down to is the pros and the cons. I mean, you're putting a little bit more risk, but the criminals who are going to bring the guns on the campus anyway are going to do it whether you tell them they can or not. So I feel like the pros of people being able to defend themselves very much outweigh the cons. Thank you.